Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap Fight to Win 237. We're going to preview ADCC East Coast Trials 2023, the first North American trials we're going to have here, and we're going to recap Mikey Musumeci versus Shinya Aoki on One FC. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Miranda.
Hey, doing Miranda?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I am excited to talk about ADCC trials. Not a whole lot of, we're both going up to it. You're competing in trials and the open.
Yep.
It's happening the day before, so we are gearing up and we're getting ready to go. My wife and I rebooked our rooms with a different discount code, so
so you get cheaper rooms.
I saved about $300.
Really?
Yeah, because I booked before we had codes, so I saved I think $320.
I should recheck mine then.
Yeah, it was
because I checked mine. I think through the hotel, but through the hotel with their discount program.
I'd set it before the discount codes came out, so now it was a very good thing to rebook.
Okay, so I'll double check.
Very happy to go up. I think we got an extra day for $300 less.
Oh, really?
So it's great, yeah.
So you're doing Thursday through?
Thursday through Sunday.
That's what I'm doing.
Up there for ADCC, up in New Jersey, which is, I think, about a 3-hour drive for us?
Yeah, it's something like that, because you have to go to the shore, and it takes a while.
Nice and close for us, which is awesome. I can't wait. We were at trials, ADCC trials, both East Coast and West Coast, 1 year ago. It was great. We also have a bunch of other ADCC news this week. Today, we got confirmation on the dates of the World Championships for 2024.
Yep.
That is August 17th through 19th, right? 2024?
I believe so.
There also is some booking codes out for MGM, I think, is where the booking codes are out initially, because that's the official hotel right now. Last time they did have some other booking codes for other hotels in Vegas. I don't know if other codes will come out. With being at T-Mobile Arena, there's going to be a lot more capacity. Tickets for ADCC for the World Championships, as is tradition, are go on sale Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving.
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th.
Yeah.
So tickets go on sale
and then,
next month.
And West Coast trials, too.
Yeah, we also have dates for West Coast trials for North America here. That is March
30th and 31st.
Yeah, so those 2 days, that's Saturday and Sunday. We will fly out for that as well, or I'm going to fly out for that as well.
I'll be there.
I got media credentialed for ADCC for the trials this coming week up in New Jersey. If there are any interviews you would like to see us do, let me know. I've already got a couple of requests for some folks that I would like to speak to. They're going to be there. So my aim is to do a whole host of interviews, ask people about their training, sort of the standard Grappling Rewind collection of coverage, and kind of talking to the athletes about their preparation and kind of leading up into the event and into the World Championships. I always love doing that. So, really happy that ADCC extended me media coverage. So that's always, I always love doing that. So I'm very, very excited to go and do that.
I'm excited.
News?
I'm excited that I'm close to weight, so I don't have to go through anything horrible this time.
That's awesome. Three women's weight classes now.
Yeah.
You've got 3 women's weight classes. This is the second trials, because we just had European trials. We now have the 55 kilo, under 55 kilo, under 65 kilo, and over 65 kilo for trials. We're going to run through, this is not technically a qualifier for the World Championships for the women, but they're still there, and they do, if they win, get a free paid entrance and transport to the West Coast trials that happen in March of this next year to enter into that for free as a kind of a prize for winning the first North American qualifier and the North American Championship that happens this next weekend.
Yep. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be awesome. I love trials. Me and my wife are both amped to come up and go do it and coach.
It's just a long weekend. That's the only problem.
It is a long weekend.
It's a very, very long weekend.
Yeah, and we're gonna get up there early. I'm probably gonna be coaching at the Open as well, so that will be fun. And overall gonna be amped for the weekend. I don't think we have any other news. Really, just ADCC news coming out today.
IBJJF is doing the crown thing that we haven't mentioned yet.
When is that? What's the date on that?
It's the 19th of November.
Okay, so we'll preview that as it gets closer.
And they're doing absolute divisions and a bunch of other stuff.
Again, I like that they're doing more and more paid tournaments.
Yeah.
It's nice, and I think the level of competition that they're getting is as strong as ever. So
and
it's phenomenal.
Whenever the next Finishers Open is the who's number one qualifier.
Oh yeah, that's new information too. Again, I love qualifiers. We talk about it on the show pretty frequently. I love that
it's a 170 qualifier.
Yeah, for the who's number one. So that will probably be.
It is November 12th.
Yeah. So if you win that, you'll get a slot in the next who's number one, which is great. Again, I love giving open qualifiers an ability to go enter into bigger tournaments and bigger showcase tournaments.
Winners will get a match on the prelims of a future who's number one card,
which is awesome. That's an astonishing prize to get. And again, we've talked about it over the show. A bunch of the big names that are champion level competitors and world champions, we first sort of learned about them through them winning either a Kasai or a finishers or an EBI or some sort of qualifying event. And the trials we're going to go to next week is your shot to go and get onto the world championship stage. And so I love that the sport has a bunch of these events, and more events are doing this. And basically, when they run an open event, you're getting an invite into a bigger event or a super fight or a paid event. It just gives athletes that are on the level an ability to kind of showcase their skills and get their foot in the door by kind of merit of their own skills. So, love to see it. I don't have any other news, Miranda.
I don't think so. I think that's it.
All right, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with trials? Do you want to start with one recap, or do you want to do Fight to Win recap? You were at Fight to Win.
I was at Fight to Win. We can start there, and then we can go through and do trials last, because trials we're going to talk about for a really long time.
So for trials, for our preview here, we have no brackets.
They're not going to do brackets until after weigh-ins.
Yeah,
so
make sure everyone gets weighed in, so they're not going to move brackets around. But basically, they're going to seed that based on some of the open standings. So because we don't have brackets, we do have a big list. Put together a great list of all of the most of the notable entrants for this trials.
Yeah.
So we're going to run through and talk about each one of the competitors that we recognize. We recognize most of the lists that they've put together and sort of talk about some of the front runners and how some people will match up or what they bring to the trials, because that's something I really enjoy doing on the show. We've got some feedback prior for people that listen to the show that's one of the things that they like us to do.
Yeah,
so
we can kind of go over who you should pay attention to.
Yeah,
and who you should think about watching.
It gives you
just because it's when you have 1,000 competitors, it's hard to know who out of that 1,000
is it only 1,000?
Well,
yeah, it's about 1,000.
It's about 1,000 because it's like $250 a division for 3 divisions, right? And then the other divisions are all smaller, so that's $750 between those, and so maybe it's like 1,500, but still it's
still a large collection of athletes. We're going to run through the ones that you should that are the front runners to take those divisions. But again, why we love trials so much is your dark horses come in and go,
you never
who
know.
is that guy that took out these 3 guys? That's why trials is so awesome. So let's talk about a couple of matches on Fight to Win. Main event was Dan Dykeman versus William Woke.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a slower paced match. You were there live.
I was.
Dykeman takes this via decision.
Yeah.
And again, I love that Dan is. Again, he's been on Fight to Win.
They said he has the most wins.
He now has the most wins on Fight to Win.
They announced him that way.
Yeah.
So he's had the.
I think he recently took that.
Oh, okay.
At least within the last 6 months, because he's been, again, Dan works for Fight to Win. He's on those cards frequently, and he will, again, as a member of Fight to Win Team No Sleep, you will get matched up on the card if there is a need to have you on there. And he's been getting matched up since he was a purple belt. Now he's a black belt. Now he's main eventing. And again, it's really cool to see him both on Fight to Win have the most wins and main event.
Yeah.
So he takes a decision over William Woke. William Woke because he was Eddie Cummings' last match. Actually, that was also in.
At Fight to Win.
At Fight to Win at the 4,300 Arena, the same venue that this Fight to Win was at.
2,300.
I have always called it the 4,300 for
2,300.
6 years now. 2,300.
I found out for the first time this weekend that there's parking behind the venue. Did you know there was parking behind the venue? I didn't know that. I had to park in the street, and then I was always confused.
It's usually
where I was at.
10 or $20.
It was free.
Usually I have to
but
pay
I didn't
for
realize it.
So yeah,
I never knew that fact.
There is parking there. It's a little industrial area.
Yeah,
and it's a very
but there's a lot of
venue for fight sports.
Side streets, and so you get there not exactly at kind of after they've started, and it's trying to find a parking spot.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's not like they have a lot that you can park in.
Also on the card we had Andrew Cockle getting a really neat knee bar. Again, Cockle's also a guy that's entered into the trial. I think he's entered the trials, right?
Yeah, he's at 77.
Yeah, he hits a really nice knee bar. He's got a guy we've been watching on the local scene for a long time. I remember commentating some of his matches back when he was on SAGC, probably 2017. He had some really fun matches there, and he's a guy that has come up and has been a staple in the scene. We've seen him on Fury and a bunch of other cards.
Yeah, we've seen him all over the place.
Super active competitor and frequent competitor.
And he's one of those people that very seldom do I ever really see him lose.
super strong.
He loses here and there, but like generally speaking, he's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, he overwhelms a lot of people. And this match was fun because he spends a ton of time almost playing from the turtle and then looking and sort of scooping under for the legs. And I think he has 2 or 3 different really good knee bar attempts till eventually he can get out. And the camera angle is great here. You can see him kind of switch his grip under, turn the knee up, and then belly out to the side, and it's a really, really great knee bar. Again, it's really cool to see him at 77 kilos because he's been a guy recently, even the past couple of years, that has been really, really consistently grinding kind of locally and semi outside of the local stuff, taking super fights and really whatever he can get. I know that he's peaking for trials.
He's also somebody that I've reffed him for a couple matches, and on those tournaments, he's always been like, I'm gonna get a guillotine, and you're like, okay, and then he like goes and gets some kind of crazy jumping guillotine on somebody. He pushes a really, really nice pace, which I like to see, and he's got a guy that consistently hunts for stuff. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing him at trials. He gets a win here at Fight to Win 237. Other matches on the card. Oh, we had Nick Willie. Taking on David Porter. And this was a match I've commentated a bunch of Willie's matches before. He's the guy that always comes out in the singlet and he looks to wrestle guys. But he does play a really, really heavy front headlock and guillotine game. He can go for the legs. He takes a really clean decision over Porter. Pretty much. Good top pressure. Good. And Porter tried at the very beginning. Porter tried the same thing he did to John Combs at the ADCC Open.
Yeah, he tried 2022.
He tried to like scissor takedown into his legs immediately, and because Willie has like tree trunk legs, he just kind of didn't go down.
Is Willie at trials?
No, he's not doing trials this year.
Yeah, I was curious because that's a big win. Porter has looked really good. And again, we've watched Porter locally and then on that scene, especially taking a win over Combs.
He has a whole history of not guillotines, Darce strokes, and all kinds of crazy footlocks, and he's definitely
really well-rounded guy that has a bit of an unorthodox style. So really big win for Nick Willie here, and it's again a guy that we see frequently on local stuff. Awesome to see him take a win here over a huge name in David Porter.
Yes.
Anything else on Fight to Win you want to run through?
Eric Naples.
Oh, yeah, Naples is on the card, too.
Naples had a decision win against Joey Allman. And Joey Allman's actually in trial. He's a trials competitor because I remember seeing his name because he has a close last name to someone we used to train with. So I was like, But Eric Naples, a lot of control in the legs and takes a really clear decision. And kind of shows off his skill and what he's been working on recently. Nice. So that was nice to see that because he's been around for a long time.
I've done commentary with Naples before. Really, it's funny. Occasionally when I need looking for a secondary or folks are looking for a local commentator, he's a guy that I point to because, again, I've done commentary with him a couple of times at this point and always like really, really good speaker. And I love what he brings and also great competitor. So nice to see that. Oh, other big news this week. Fight to Win, as of this week, is now back on Flow. I forgot to mention that we've been watching it on Fight for a year now, but Fight to Win, Seth made a nice post kind of talking about some changes that they're making and that they're moving back to Flow. I like watching Fight to Win wherever they are. I think the interface for Flow is a bit better for Fight to Win, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing them back on Flow.
The one thing that confused me a little bit was, so when they came out, when your people came out to compete, they went in front of the screen, right? And then they had to go down to the floor and then back up to the mat.
Oh, they didn't have the elevated walkway like usual.
They didn't have the walkway.
Oh, that's funny.
Which I was like, it just seemed like a lot of steps. And I was like, if I was doing that, I would so fall. Like, just insight into my brain. When I walk out to matches, sometimes my biggest fear is just falling. Because I'm like,
don't fall.
Yeah, I'm like, don't fall down the stairs. Don't fall. That's my big fear.
Nice. So
crazy. Anyway,
that's Fight to Win. Again, happy to have them back on Flow. It's been great to cover them for 200 events almost at this point.
And with Dave Beaver from Twisted Church helping out with them now, it seems like they'll have some nice cards coming up in the future.
They're going to Columbus.
And
is
Dave, the next
he's
one.
Out of Ohio, so I'm sure they're going to get some great talent for the Ohio card coming up. We have a Baltimore card, which is local to us,
on the 28th.
Coming up on the 28th of this month. So we're going to be there, probably live and in person, doing some coverage. We'll probably both have folks that are on it.
I've put my name on.
I've not put my name in.
We'll see what happens.
I know who I am nowadays, and I'm very happy to be doing media on the side of these things. But again, it's great to have Fight to Win back in town. They haven't been on the East Coast in a while, so looking forward to having them back in town and seeing those folks again. Let's move on to One FC. Biggest news this week for One FC was Mikey Musumeci taking on Shinya Aoki and defeating him, submitting him with an Aoki lock.
Yeah.
Which is, if you've picked up the name, he hit him with his own shit.
Yeah, he did.
Which is such a... And again, Mikey, to all of his credit, and super great guy, gives a really nice kind of speech at the end and talking about, like, it was like a nice, like, student and master and learning and, like, being able to have the honor of competing against him and being able to use his own move against him.
He said something about being 40 years old, and I was like, dude, Mikey, what the fuck? I'm 40. What the fuck, Mikey? But anyway, that's me.
What much, Mikey? Like 27?
Yeah, I think he's in his 20s.
Yeah, I think he's late 20s now.
Is he late 20s?
I think so. I again, everyone is so much younger at this point. I always forget how old guys are.
Yeah.
Because I keep getting older, and those pro athletes like stay about the same age, and it just throws me off.
Well, it was it Micah who was talking about PJ Barch, and he was like, when I'm 30 years old, I hope I'm still fighting people. Or something. He said something like that.
But Micah's like 20 and Barch is 33.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of a very sweet thing to say, but for us old people, it's like, ugh.
In 15 years, like, I hope I'm still here like these guys. You're like, hey, man, don't rub it in my face. Let's talk about the finish here. But again, it's such a wild moment to have Musumeci finish Aoki with his own Aoki lock. So the Aoki lock is essentially, Mikey kind of does it like a Kayotero lock, which he does that inside De La Hiva hook. And what it does is if your foot daylights to the outside, you basically do an Estima-like grip over the top, and then you yank the foot up so that it's sort of like an outside or an inside heel hook, but almost finishes like a power toe hold.
Yeah.
It is its own thing. It's an Aoki lock, and that's the reason why it has its own name, is it's a somewhat unique finish.
And it's one of those toe or leg locks that is sometimes IBJJF legal, depending on who you are.
So
if you can hide what you're doing,
well, a lot of times it's also it's which side technically. In IBJJF, it is based on what hand comes through.
Yeah.
So if it is same side hand, it is legal. Yeah. If it is cross side hand, it is illegal. Mikey does it with the standard, like the IBJJF legal way, where he has his outside hand underneath of the grip.
That is where he comes from.
Yeah, that's where he sort of makes his hay. That's why where he won all of his world titles was in the IBJJF. But again, the One FC, they don't care. It is cool to see him incorporate the move in this way. So we were kind of breaking this down a little bit on the pre-show. It's a really interesting leg configuration. We sort of both picked up the same thing. It seemed like in just Aoki's mannerisms and like the urgency in which he was defending it, that he didn't seem like he was really worried about the Aoki lock, and then suddenly he goes like, and he has to tap.
It was like he didn't address the grip on the foot at all.
Yeah.
Or he was like, we were trying to figure out, he was reaching through the legs to address the grips. And
Aoki had his hand underneath of
his outside
leg and under Mikey's leg, and sort of was looking to sort of hand fight. It an interesting position. Most people grab, you brought up, grab like over or through, or grab around. Yeah. Most people don't grab through, like literally under their own legs.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out, like, because I was watching, I was like, that's kind of, like, I wonder if you have some sort of advantage by going through the legs like that. But I feel like you almost get your arms stuck.
And that's sort of what it looked like. It looked like Aoki sort of didn't have the distance on his hand to be able to get to Mikey's wrist or arm or forearm or anything. And Mikey, as soon as he pulled his cross-side leg out, and he was able to kind of fall back and belly up into the foot. Yeah. Aoki had to tap and tapped pretty quickly. Yeah. It was a weird kind of finish.
It also looked like Aoki was comfortable in that position.
He looked calm, super calm.
He was super calm and comfortable in a position that he might have needed a little bit more urgency to be in.
Yeah. But Aoki's a guy, he's always like, that dude is stone-faced most of the time.
And I'm sure. And I'm
super calm.
Like I said, like Mikey would have probably took me out well before that moment. So I'm not saying that. It's just he seemed a little too
passive. He seemed passive in the spot.
He seemed passive in that in a space that he should have been more concerned with Mikey's grip on the foot.
Yeah, and then Mikey's able to finish. In the beginning of this match, I thought it was very funny. We'll come back to the finish here. Mikey every time now gives the foot, and then he waits for you to grab the foot because it's enough contact. Then he pulls guard, and I just think it's very funny how they've sort of changed the rules, and like you can't just pull guard anymore. But Mikey, and we're seeing this honestly. I think we'll see this probably a bunch at trials. Is people that don't want to play the takedowns, especially early, will give up the takedown.
Yeah, or they're like they're tricking you into it, because that was also something at Fight to Win that I saw was gentlemen putting their leg up because they wanted like either to be taken down or they wanted to
counter off of it or something.
They wanted to like come into the legs from somebody grabbing a hold of their
because you have your hands committed to the leg. It's interesting. It is something we've seen in years past, but we've seen it sort of done obstinately, by guys that are not at the level.
And I think it's also one of those things that sometimes if you put your leg out there and you get somebody who's a very aggressive like takedown person, they're going to be like, oh, leg, and like they're going to immediately jump on it, and then you can attack them from their committing to the takedown. Yeah, it's that little aggression thing. But I think your more seasoned competitors are like, nah, I don't want that.
But it's just been so funny that we've seen. Like, it used to be a thing that we didn't see very commonly, unless you were a guy that was sort of trying to get in someone's head. It was something you did. Nowadays, we are seeing like guys like Gordon and Mikey. We're seeing the top people in the world employ this strategy. And it being successful for them, and it's just very funny.
Almost like a donkey guard jump. Yeah. When you're just like playing donkey guard because you're like...
Jeff Glover.
Jeff Glover is just kind of laughing at people while he goes...
Right, and that's what we were seeing people do. And now it is really come into the fold as an extremely valid tactic for some of the best people in the world. And it's just... As we watch the sport and as we sort of commentate the sport over the years, it is very funny to watch the collection of techniques kind of go from meme status into, oh, no, the best guys in the world are using this again, and then it may cycle back around as the kind of the meta shifts, but this is a technique that just makes me laugh because, especially in the later rounds of ADCC, in the finals, when you can't pull guard, this is a strategy we see folks use because technically it counts as a takedown for the other guy, but in the no points, there are no points, so you can get it to the ground and essentially pull guard by being taken down in a weird roundabout kind of way.
And you're getting taken down into a position that you want to be in, as opposed to just allowing them to take you down and
sort of dictate where that takedown takes place. It's interesting, but I thought it was a cool weekend of matches.
I wonder if we'll see more of that than we will the shoot into the legs, wait 3 seconds and pull guard.
I don't know. I'm actually, that's one of the things I'm most excited for is how many people misjudge 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Because it's really common, and I've been training a lot, and we've been in ADCC camps to watch people try to count 3 seconds in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
And that's really when, and you have a lot of top corners will yell like, keep driving, keep driving, keep driving, keep driving. Before someone pulls, because a lot of times in the moment you'll drive for 5 seconds
and you also don't
pull, and it was only 2 seconds.
Yeah, because you don't know how much time. Like when you're in the middle of a match,
time moves differently.
Yeah, it could be really slow or it could be super fast. You don't know.
I've had matches go both ways where it was it's like this is a 35. Actually, I had 35-minute matches, but this is like I've had a regular length matches where it's like this match has been going on forever, and you look at the clock, it's like there's been 2.5 minutes go by.
Or like you have this idea, you're like, I held them down for like 4 minutes of the match, and then you look at it, it was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and at most, and you were struggling to maintain. Yeah, that's why I'm a big proponent of from a more hobbyist perspective, recording your matches and getting a chance to watch it, because I find that time that you are actually in the match, the time actually is perceived differently in your head, and it's a very valuable tool to go back and watch it. So, very curious if we're gonna how much of this tactic of giving the leg we're going to see this next weekend at trials. I am guessing that we are going to see it a lot. It's going to be a common tactic.
We're going to see it in the lower weight divisions a lot. I don't know about the higher weight divisions.
That's reasonable. Yeah, I think we'll definitely see
higher weight divisions. They
tend to like to wrestle a little more most of the
time. I'm trying to think the guard pullers, but hopefully the guard pullers in the higher weight classes like plus 99 remember that they're
that's the hope,
to not do the same mistakes they've made multiple times.
So moving on, nothing else from One FC. It was great. I love watching One. Makes my weekend every time we get to cover it and watch it. Moving on to our preview of ADCC North American Trials, what we call East Coast Trials.
Yep.
Here for the World Championships for 2024. This is the first North American Trials that we have, and it is absolutely stacked. In the men's 66 kilogram division right now, we have 250 competitors. In the men's under 77 kilograms, we have 263, probably 265 or 264, which is a full bracket.
And we know one is out because the one Tackett's registered twice.
Right, Caleb Tackett's registered twice. 88 kilos, we have 233. Under 99, we have 83. Plus 99, we have 57 competitors. For the women, at under 55, this is, again, a non-qualifying for Worlds, but still it is for the North American championship for this year for the women and an entrance into and a paid trip over to West Coast Trials. Women 55, we have 45 competitors. Under 65 kilos, we have 53 competitors. And plus 65 kilos, we have 28 competitors. So it's a loaded event. Flo was great enough to put together a big list from all the divisions of notable competitors. Miranda, do you want to start? Where do you want to start here on this one?
I like to go in order.
From smallest to biggest?
Yeah, that's how I roll.
So let's start off 66 kilos. We're gonna run through the names, talk a little about the folks' game, and then sort of also talking about seeding
and the last
and things of note.
Last year's East Coast Trials, our winner was Cole Abate.
Yeah,
and
returning.
And he's not returning. Which why would you in his position? Return?
Did he medal at Worlds? No, right? He didn't place.
Did he lose straight out? Yeah, because I think he got.
I think he goes to second round, but I don't think he does not. He does not place.
No, because it was Baby Shark and
Fabricio. And then Crownston and Cisneros.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But then Cisneros moves on to go get taken out by Fabricio. I should have pulled the bracket
up. It was Baby
up.
Shark and Pato, right? Is Diago Pato?
I think so.
I think it was because I for whatever reason, the two of them, I get their names confused all the time. I don't really even know why.
Regardless, Abate is not returning, but we do have some returning trials winners and trials medalists and world champion entrants. Let's run through biggest names in the tournament that have been to ADCC before. We have Richard Alarcon, we have Ethan Krelenston, we have Gianni Grippo, and we have Keith Krikorian. Those are the guys that have been at the game before. We have Josh Cisneros takes fourth, Pato takes third, Gabriel Souza takes second, Diogo Hayes takes first, men's 66 kilos this last year.
Yeah.
I knew Cisneros was up there.
Yeah.
So again, typically with ADCC, your first four people get an invite into back. Those are four of your invite slots are the former returning people that have medaled and placed, and they placed a fourth. Okay. And then you have four other invite slots, and then you have 8 trials winners across the 4 regions for the men, 2 trials per region, 1 happening each year, and then that's how it's seeded. So it is not surprising to not see Cisneros in this because he'll probably get an invite because he placed 4th.
Yeah.
Ethan Krelenston, he beat Keith Krikorian at ADCC Trials 2018.
Yeah.
No, sorry. 2017. 2017.
Yeah.
And then he was injured, and then this last trials he got in because he couldn't do ADCC in 2019.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to do trials again. He was sort of granted his spot and came into ADCC 2022. He returns to trials.
Looking freaking jacked.
Looking
freaking shredded.
Jacked. So he had a great match against Josh Cisneros. That was one of the more entertaining matches at ADCC World Championships 2022. If you haven't seen that match, go back and watch it. But it was a great match. Krelenston is a front runner here. He has won trials before. Again, when the trials weren't nearly as big 4 or 5 years ago, like very different event than it was even back then. You also have Keith Krikorian.
Yeah.
Him and Keith have had fun matches.
I will not also go against Gianni Grippo.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not there yet.
I'm just saying.
Sorry, Grippo's been... did I miss Grippo's name?
I don't know, but Grippo...
Yeah, Grippo's also in here.
Yeah, Grippo's in here, and Grippo for IBJJF like
he just won his 5th Nogi Pans title.
He did. He won New York Open when I was there, and I mean he won it pretty decisively. Like
Grippo's world class.
He's a freaking beast, and I mean they made the Gianni Grippo rule because of him.
Yeah, because of him and Burchak. Yeah. You can no longer spike forward off of someone's back when previously in a submission you could slam however you wanted. Now because of East Coast Trials 2021,
yes,
or 2022. You can no longer, from a backpack, slam someone forward or roll forward because they're worried about the neck. Reasonably so, but Gianni Grippo was the last guy to get ever slammed by that rule.
It was pretty crazy to watch.
It was absolutely. That was Matt's side. It was wild to watch. So Keith's in the mix again. He won West Coast Trials. He's looked great. Again, you won one of the biggest trials ever, and the most recent trials. Very exciting to see. Yeah. He just had a very, very fun match last weekend against Diego Hayes, the ADCC champion, where he looked good. I also think that's one of the best versions of Krikorian we have ever seen versus the ADCC champion. Although Baby Shark is able to beat him last weekend at Who's Number One, it does sort of show how good Krikorian looked.
Yeah.
I think Krikorian looks great. Gianni Grippo, again, always in the mix, world class. Those are the 4 guys, or the 3 guys here. Yeah. Win Richard Alarcon, red.
Yeah.
Who's also been to ADCC before. Seeing those 4 folks in the finals doesn't surprise me at all, but we have a lot of folks that are on the level now coming in that I think can put a real wrench into anyone's game. We have both DeAndre Corbray and Gavin Corbray, who have been doing a ton of the ADCC Opens, have been looking phenomenal. We've been covering them on things like Toro Cup and things like Enigma Jiu-Jitsu and things locally on Copa Maryland and Copa Virginia.
Yeah, they've been, and finishers.
And finishers.
Midwest
they've been hitting
finishers,
triangle armbars over everyone. Like, both of these guys have been, and DeAndre and Gavin have both been doing the Opens, and DeAndre and Gavin have both been they've been winning the Opens and looking very, very good doing it. They're getting that experience. Standard Jiu-Jitsu, the gym that they train out of, has pretty much it is now exclusively a Nogi gym, and they are doing ADCC rules like all of these top gyms that are fielding ADCC level competitors are doing. They have a big squad from Standard coming in. They can absolutely upset some people. DeAndre is now ranked 8th in the world. And it kind of, that's a big name to get through. We have Emilio Hernandez, who's ranked number 11 at 135. He's going to be going up to 66 kilos.
Yeah.
Definitely going to put a wrench in some people's game. And then who else? We have John Calistine in here, which we don't see super frequently, but when he shows up, man.
Yeah, he kind of comes in and then he disappears. Do we have our Z team small dude?
Esteban Martinez.
Yeah, is he in there?
I haven't seen him. Let me look.
Go to 66. Go to 66.
I see it. Yeah.
Put in the search bar. Just put in his name on the search bar.
Let's see.
Oh, man, I'm gonna be mad if he's not in there. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love watching him compete. I don't think he's in there.
He's not in there. Man.
That's unfortunate.
He's one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah. I would probably be at West Coast Trials. Yeah. We saw him the last time at West Coast Trials. So, we want to go through any other names here? We have Fabian Ramirez as well. We saw him on Who's Number One.
We have a random local that's in this bracket named Roberto Vargas. He's a kid. He's a blue belt kid from what's his name's gym? It's a Jersey gym. It's a Ricardo Almeida gym.
South Jersey?
Yeah. No, but he's from one of those gyms.
Okay.
And I can't, it's falling out of my head right now. But I've watched this kid, I've reffed his matches, and he's like a 16-year-old kid, and he goes into black belt, adult male brackets and freaking kills people.
Oh, speaking of kids.
So he's like a kid that, is
What's the name again?
It's Roberto Vargas.
Okay.
He does, I want to say he does IBJJF, either at blue, he might be a purple by now, but juvenile, and just kills.
Always guys watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of juveniles, I missed him.
Yeah.
We have Dorian Oliveras in this division as well. Youngest combat jiu-jitsu world champion ever. A guy that I had the pleasure of watching his matches. I think it's 65 kilos at the Dallas Open.
Gary Tonen's gym. That's the gym he comes from.
Oh,
Vargas.
okay. Yeah. Yep. Dorian Oliveras is at a B team now. Has looked world class and amazing. He has like 700 wrestling matches. If you want to hear more of us talk about him, we talk about him at Combat Jiu-Jitsu for that recap show for Grappling Rewind. We also talk about him for our Dallas recap because I was one of the judges on his mat and got a chance to see his game firsthand. Like I think a month before he wins Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Really, really top level competitor. We have Dominic Mejina, or Meija. I always butcher his last name. Looked really good.
Isn't it Meha?
Meha, I think is correct. Looked really good at Enigma Jiu-Jitsu a couple of weeks ago. Really impressed with his game. And there's a bunch of other great names. Valor Boyer's in here. Anthony Burchak's in here. Dylan Cameron's in here. Joey Dial is in here. Landon Elmore. Zach Kina. Reese Lafayette.
My coach is in there.
Fabian Ramirez. Dylan Wentrab is in here as well. So big division. Very excited.
Yeah.
We don't have any brackets yet. I assume that Oliveira, I assume that all of the guys that have formerly been to the World Championships or former trials winners are going to be the top ranked guys.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And they'll be seated well.
So look for, again, Krikorian and Grippo and Cronston to be on opposite corners.
Yeah.
And then also look at red, like Richard Alarcon, to be on opposite corner as well. Then look for guys like Andrew DeGraff, Gavin Corbray, Dylan Corbray, Dorian Oliveira, as guys that have been doing really well at the Opens, to be filling out those longer slots as well on the corners of the brackets, and then everyone else to fill in. Should be a banger bracket. We've missed a ton of people, so
yeah, I'm reading through it as we talk, just because. But there are some stacked divisions. So.
Yeah, but again, we're looking at 250 competitors. We are not going to get a chance to talk about them all because this segment would be, unwranglable.
Yes.
So moving on to what Flo has for the 77 kilo division, we have. Let's move from the top to the bottom here. We have Sergio Ardilla here. We have John Blank. Notably,
we also have AJ Agazarm. They didn't put him on that list.
Oh, interesting.
He didn't make their list.
Former silver medalist.
But I thought he was part of Flow. I thought he was affiliated.
I'm not sure.
Didn't he have like the CEO of Flow on his Instagram for the longest time, or something?
I think he
something
did.
Weird like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah, Agazarm is again former world medalist, and a guy that is just soup. If you are not a veteran, Agazarm is hard to get past. He's tricky. He's crafty. He knows how to win. Go back and watch his matches at the World Championship.
Yeah.
Like, Agazarm's a hard dude to get by. It is interesting he is at 77 kilos and not at 66 kilos, where I think historically he has been. But I think for trials, he has gone up higher. And we've seen Agazarm enter the heavier weights all the time.
We've seen him enter in bracket. Like,
he gets put against Max Jimenez more than anyone of his size should ever have to fight Max Jimenez. Oh, speaking of Max Jimenez, I was at his fight this weekend, his MMA fight.
I saw he
34-second rear naked choke.
I saw. Did he hit a blast double? Was that what
something
that was?
like that? It was just like takedown, mount, punch, turn, rear naked choke. It was a 34-second fight.
I saw that whole fight on Instagram.
It was awesome.
You could put the whole thing on there.
I was not cage side, but I was in the arena, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love seeing Max get a win. So, not relevant, but AJ Agazarm has had to go against Max, who I think weighed at like 235.
Yeah, something like that.
And Agazarm is, again, under 77 kilos, I think comfortably.
Yeah, like 160.
Yeah, so under 169 gives you a discrepancy there. But another weird weight class, John Blank is coming down to under 77 kilos. He's lost a bunch of weight. Not a lot. He's lost some size. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to have him. Again, they
can also cut because they're weighing in the day before.
Yes.
So there is a little bit.
But I think John was talking about going to
a smaller weight class.
Yeah, I think he's been talking about that for a little bit now. Okay. I don't think this is just due to the cut. Okay. I think he's been registered or been talking about or heard rumors that he was going to 77 or saw him at 77. Even I think before that was announced.
Yeah.
We have John Combs as well, former trials winner.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Elijah Dorsey's interesting because that would be one of our only TLI gentlemen.
I think so. Kieran Kirchek is also in this division.
Yeah, but Kieran switched to isn't he at New Wave?
B team.
B team.
He's a B team, but I think he still
flags.
He still flags
wave,
TLI, but he also is B team.
I said that completely backwards.
Flies the TLI flag.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's primarily at
flags the
B team
wave,
now, but he was at TLI for a long time.
But I mean,
Team
we just don't see a lot of Lloyd Irving gentlemen in ADCC.
Not anymore. I think the last guy to go was Shane Jamil Taylor, and that was the year that he was the world champion in 2018, 2019 was the last time.
So it's interesting to see Elijah, but Elijah's very, very good. So
we have Max Hansen, number 15. He is now the 155 and 170 pound finishers champion, defending both of those in the same night. So again, that puts you on the realm for how good he is.
I want to say he's also like a Midwest finishers champion.
I think that is correct too. Yeah, he is.
Because he trains with Dante Leone, and Dante's
he's one of Dante's guys.
He's out of like Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah,
I think.
So Max Hansen's the guy in the mix. Kieran Kurchek, who's the guy that...
There's the other TLI. So they're both in the same bracket.
I said he was in the bracket.
Yeah, I didn't notice they were still in the same bracket.
Again, I've been really liking Kieran's games recently, how he's been looking.
Even in IBJJF, he's been looking really good.
Yeah, go back and watch. You want to see... So Kieran's had some great matches recently. He also looks like he's put on some size, which is nice for 77 kilos. Kieran, go back and watch his match at West Coast trials. He has one of like the craziest pace matches in like I think the third or fourth round of trials for West Coast trials last year, where he is just killing a guy with pace, and it's like at the end he's just like gagging and throwing up off the mat because he's just been killing this guy with pace the entire time. But it showed like, man, Kieran can go and he can push. He can push where other people will wilt. Yeah. He can use that pace as a weapon, and that match like really, really impressed me. And then he's been also improving big aspects of his game at B team. Yeah. They're very excited to see what he's looking at. We have Pierre-Olivier Leclerc, also in this bracket, French-Canadian coming down. We've been watching Pierre for years and years and years. He was part of that group with like Oliver Taza and Ethan Crownston.
Yeah, he's still at TriStar.
Yeah, but he never made the move down.
Yeah, he never moved down with everybody else.
He's kind of stayed at TriStar.
But he's actually like, I think, sort of local, where the other Krelestein, I guess, was local too, because like some of the other ones definitely weren't like local. They like went to TriStar, and so when they moved, it was like they were just kind of moving. Where like others,
Pierre's actually kind of from that area.
Yeah, I think he's from that area, and that's why he stayed.
I'm not sure,
because I know there was like the whole a lot of that stuff happened during COVID, because like a lot of people couldn't get into Canada. If you had left Canada during COVID, you couldn't get back in. So that's why certain people like Zach Makovsky, that now trains at 10th Planet, that was fun size in the UFC. He trained at TriStar, but he couldn't get back into TriStar during COVID because he wasn't Canadian. Right. So then, you have to kind of
make do for however long and change your camp up.
Yeah.
So Pierre is a guy always in the mix. We have Michael Lira in here as well. We have Nick Newell, who I always love watching Nick Newell compete, because Nick Newell is a single hand amputee. He fought in WSFO.
I remember him. Yeah.
He's got a really nasty guillotine.
I had a conversation with him after we cut weight, like for, I want to say, ADCC Open. Okay. Like I didn't know exactly who, like it was one of those, I was really hungry and I was trying to shove food in my face, and like him and his girlfriend were sitting there and we were discussing like making granola.
He's friendly. I mean,
him and his girlfriend make granola. I
love it. He has a couple of matches on Fight to Win. And
does he ever punch choke people?
He does. And him and Keith Miner, a gentleman with an amputee, they will use that as like a punch choke, because there's no hand, and so you can put it directly, arm directly into the neck, and it's such a weird. You watch people try to like go and strip it, and they have a really hard time stripping because there's no hand to grab onto.
It's nothing.
So I love his uses like a disadvantage to this advantage, and as a result, he throws guys off a ton. Always looks very good. Got good wrestling. Very excited to see what Nick Newell does. We have Ernesto Rivera. We have Nick Ronan as well in this division. Very, very good leg locker. Matt Serra. Jiu-jitsu guy. I think he does a lot of training with Jason Rao as well.
Well, Jason Rao is Matt Serra. Yeah. It's from Matt Serra,
I think Ronan and Serra are the two guys there that have always like really, really dope knee bar games for those gentlemen. Troy Russell's in here. We have also returning former trials winner and multiple-time ADCC World Champion veteran, Nicky Ryan.
Yep.
Going to 77 kilos. This will be the first time that he's at 77 for a trials. He's previously won trials at 66 kilos for the West Coast Trials 2018.
Yeah. 17 was
2018. Yeah, I think I've butchered a trials number here because I
think 17 was East Coast. I think 18 was
because it was the odd years,
Yeah.
and then COVID kind of bumped everything a year,
Yeah.
and it just throws off my brain because it's a 2-year cycle, and then it's a 3-year cycle, and it throws everything
Yeah.
off for me. But it'll be interesting to have him at 77 kilos. What was his most recent match we saw him at? Quintet, right?
Quintet, yeah.
Yeah, looks good at Quintet. Very curious to see him in a big, long bracket-style tournament. The last time I think we've seen him in something like that was trials.
Yeah, because he hasn't done a ton of.
When
he hasn't
he
had
was-
a ton of activity since then
Mhm.
because of a couple injuries.
When he was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like he did trials when he was 15, and I think he placed at that but didn't win, but then he was able to get into ADCC as a late replacement because he was in Iceland with his brother.
Yeah.
And then becoming the youngest entrant before Cole Abate in ADCC ever.
Iceland?
Finland. Yeah, my bad.
I was like, dude, if they
I said it, and then I was like, that's not right. And then you I think, appreciate you catching it because I didn't fix it. Again, it's for these big tournaments, he always surprises me.
Yeah.
Because we're used to him taking these super fights and being sort of inactive.
He's very good.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
He just gets hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
And so I hope that he's not hurt going into this
Yeah.
because when he shows up, man, he is phenomenal and he can win this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's surprised me so many times by his ability to just show up and look phenomenal like his brother the whole time. We have Diego Sanchez as well in this, Diego Sanchez was in ADCC back in 2013, 2010?
Yeah, that's a long.
Back in the day. So it's cool to see Diego Sanchez back in this. Really good grappler. Danny Stofley is in here. We have number 5th ranked Andrew Tackett, who, if he looks anything like he looked versus Barch, if he's not injured. I don't know if he's going to be out of this now that because of his back injury.
But Caleb Tackett's also in it, which is his brother.
His younger brother's in there as well. This will be the first trials that we've seen Caleb at. Was he at West Coast trials? Was he in West Coast trials?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't think he was because I think we would have seen more of him if he was.
Yeah.
They would have made a thing about it.
He's not a guy that we've seen a lot of, but again, you're Andrew and William Tackett's younger brother. I expect really, really great things from him coming into this bracket with his brother.
Satava's in this bracket.
Jonathan Satava, former trials winner as well. 2017? Trials winner, 2016?
I don't know. I'm going to give up on trying to remember.
Won trials back in the day. Yeah. Very, very good. Guillotine game. We also have Oliver Taza, who was in the finals of the European trials a couple of weeks ago versus... who was it?
Joseph Chen.
Joseph Chen, thank you. I was like 77. Who is 77?
Yeah.
Joseph Chen. Look for Oliver Taza to be in the mix here. We also have Chris Wojcik as well in here.
Who's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And he has switched over to B team.
Is he B team now?
He's either B team. Yes, he's at B team. I was
he's
like,
one of the Austin gyms.
He's either B team or New Wave, but I think he's B team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember either offhand.
It's B team. He switched over.
So again, probably going to have Satava, John Blank, John Combs, Nicky Ryan, Diego Sanchez, Oliver Taza, all in your quadrants.
Yeah.
But look for these guys to all meet at the earliest day 2. Like they're not going to meet day 1. These are all going to be day 2 matchups. I'm curious if they all make it though.
I'm curious. Not on that list also is Cody Steele. He's in it.
Is he registered?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, because I'm curious. Because he's really taken.
Yeah,
he just had a really quick flying knee knockout off the cage at not LFA, is it? Is he LFA? Is he Fury?
I think he's Fury.
Yeah. But he's really prioritized. We've not seen him grappling a lot and really seen him focus on his striking and make the MMA transition over. Whereas the last trials, he was still sort of primarily a grappler. He was making his pro debut, but now we've seen him. I think he's 3 or 4-0, and really
and
taking
all of his
MMA
fights were quite short
and impressive.
Very impressive.
He's just been knocking guys out with the quickness. So I'm curious to see how he's able to manage that shift, coming into this level at trials. But go back and watch his matches at East Coast trials to get a feel for how he is. And if you want to hear him from a couple of years ago, you can listen to the interview I did with him at Kasai down in Dallas a couple of years ago as well. I interviewed him. I interviewed Andrew Tackett. I interviewed William Tackett as well, and some other folks as part of that event. really cool. But that was before he had made the MMA transition. So if you want to hear like an older interview, that's there if you want to listen to it.
Great. And then we can move on to
88 kilos. This is a
kilos.
fun one. So we have less returning champions here. We have Jacob Rodriguez, J-Rod, listed in this division. For some reason, I thought he was going to 77. He's listed at 88. He's listed on the bracket or on the registration list at 88. I may have that wrong. I don't know why somebody said he was going to 77. I don't know where I saw that. I don't know where I read that. But right now, from what I'm seeing, he's listed at 88.
Yeah.
Go back and watch his match last weekend with Michael Gavau.
Yeah.
Like, unarmbarable. He is, I don't know how you're going to put that guy away and how you're going to deal with the pace and dynamics. The only way I think you beat J-Rod is you got to beat him early.
Yeah.
But with ADCC, there are no points early.
He's a slow starter, so you have to almost attack immediately.
You have to almost beat him early because late, he's going to get you late. Yeah. That is what he does. Go back and watch his match with Giancarlo Bodoni.
Even if you get in something, you're going to have to break him. Like literally physically break him. Because he's gonna get out or wiggle out or find a way to scramble out.
Did somebody control him at Quintet? Or am I thinking about a different?
No, I think he only had one match at Quintet. No, was he? He wasn't at Quintet.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Him and his brother.
Oh yeah, he was at Quintet when I think about it.
Yeah, because he went out and found a bunch of stuff in Japan that was really funny.
So yeah, but he had two matches
with Jed Hugh. He had the armbar that he got out of with Jed Hugh,
and then he had another match, and he had an armbar in that match too. Because they've been going after that arm.
Was it Amir Alam he went against? Maybe. So regardless, Jacob Rodriguez, go back and watch his run at West Coast Trials where he wins and he buggy chokes Hunter Colvin in the finals. And then go back and watch his match with Giancarlo Bodoni, where it's like Bodoni puts the pace on him and puts him in a really bad way. And then, he had a match with Jacob Couch recently.
Oh, okay.
And Jacob Couch really controlled him and held him down.
That's the only, I mean, he's kind of like, like a cat.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, he's going to constantly get up and jump and bounce. And so you're going to have to physically hold him down to be able to do
And good luck doing that because he's a freak. He's a freak athlete. Yeah. And that's, again, what I'd like to see. So he's a big wrench in anyone's game. There's no points early. And so whenever you make your hay with him, you usually make it early. And then late, he comes from behind. And that's when there are points. And that's when he can submit you and score. I'm curious to see if we're going to see that same dynamic. I guess we are because that's sort of...
It's kind of what he does.
Kind of how he does, but we've seen him win one of the most stacked trials in this weight class ever. I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it again here, but also in this bracket we have William Tackett. William Tackett moving up from 77 kilos, but with now both his younger brothers, Caleb and Andrew Tackett at 77, they're getting some separation. Now we've seen the Brazilian Fight Factory guys, which is where all those guys train out of, including Cody Steele, all be in the same bracket before. We thought they were going to meet at 77 kilos last East Coast Trials, and they almost did.
Yeah. They didn't.
Did they not? I always think that Williams and Steele went against each other, and then Steele had the match with Barch.
I remember Steele's match with Barch.
For some reason, I think I always forget that semifinals or that quarterfinals match.
I always confuse the finals only because of how the finals are run at the end.
Yeah, and then they run third place.
Yeah, and they run third place after finals,
which makes sense.
Which makes sense, but for
because
whatever,
you don't want to injure someone in third place if someone can't do finals because you put that person in.
But for whatever reason, my brain doesn't.
It always
because
throws
it's in
me
reverse
off as well.
order right there. It just throws off like exactly what happens at the end.
Yeah. So William Tackett's in this again has looked great in East Coast Trials, has looked great at West Coast Trials.
Who's missing from this is Achilles Rocha.
He's in here. He's right here. He's listed.
Oh, he's listed?
Yeah, we have.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not.
He's 88.
Oh, no, it isn't. No, for whatever reason, I didn't think that was in alphabetical order, but it is. It is.
Oh, it's by last name alphabetical order. That's why. Yeah, so.
Well, and what I'm looking at is alphabetical order, too. But for
the other listings.
I was looking at it, and I was like, it's not in order. But it is.
So we have Elder Cruz as well. Coming in again, Elder Cruz has looked very, very good at the opens.
He's normally under 99. He's not. Under
so he's cutting the weight down to under 88 kilos. I think for him is a good weight. Again, we've seen him compete against Giancarlo. He has wins over Giancarlo in ADCC rules. Like, he's definitely a dude to watch out for. Lovato just took a win over him, which was really impressive for Lovato, but I think that Elder will be back. We have, so Elder Cruz, been to ADCC. Majid Hage, also been to ADCC.
He's coming up to 88.
Mm-hmm. So we have Elder Cruz coming down from 99 to 88, and Majid coming up to under 88 kilos from 77 kilos. Majid had a really rough match recently with JT Torres on Who's Number One.
Yeah, but we haven't seen a lot out of him recently. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. And he's one of those gentlemen that he gets to do both the Americans and both the South Americans.
Yep. I'm curious. So. I didn't see Roberto Jimenez here in under 77 kilos or under 88 kilos, but another gentleman does the same thing.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see him either, but I bet you he's doing South American.
Probably. That's what he won last time, so... it wouldn't surprise me. We have Sebastian Rodriguez out of Unity, who has looked really, really good, both on Who's Number One and at Opens, and just in general in IBJJF as well.
Yeah.
Really dynamic game, great flash submissions and like sustained submissions. We have Renee Souza, we have Benji Silva, we have Stanley Rosa, we have Shinya DeMarco here. We have, like I talked about earlier, Jason Rao. Jason Rao was in that Polaris GP, and you can watch him versus Kainan Duarte, and you can see sort of how Kainan has to deal with Jason Rao's game there. But again, Jason Rao is here under 88 kilos. Kainan Duarte is now under 99 kilos, and you can kind of see that on display. But that is the most recent match that we've seen from Jason Rao.
And we also have Michael Crisp, who was quite impressive against Garmo and some other gentlemen at West Coast Trials.
Yeah, he's a guy we don't see a lot. He's a Canadian guy.
Yeah.
And giant, big back tattoo that's very colorful.
Like super colorful tattoos.
He was one of my standouts of West Coast Trials for ADCC. And he was like a guy that I was like, who is that guy? And it's very rare we get to day two, and there's someone that you can see when people look good in the first couple rounds, but a lot of times it's because the folks that they're going against aren't quite on the level.
Yeah.
He was a guy that I didn't recognize going into day two of West Coast Trials, and I went, he looks really good versus the guys that are favorited to win in this tournament. Like, he's looking good against guys at day two. Who is this guy? He really stood out to me with super hard collar ties and great wrestling.
There's a gentleman with the last name Mountain Lion.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that's his real last name.
I don't know.
Mountain Lion.
You can put your email address in as your first name accidentally as well.
I was like, Mr. Mountain Lion.
We have Sam Kilmer in this as well. So Sam Kilmer was supposed to have a fight at Shogun, one of the MMA cards actually that Max was on, Max Jimenez was on. I got there a couple fights late. I don't know if his fight was the one that moved or not, or if he was an earlier fight of the night.
Yeah.
But he is in this under 88 kilos. He won Copa Elite a couple months ago that Zach and I did commentary for. You can go watch that on YouTube now. Kilmer's a guy that he is going to sit on you. He's going to get you down with wrestling, and he's going to sit on you in an outstretched knee cut and wait for you to make a mistake. And when you make a mistake, he's going to go. And he's willing to play in that position the entirety of the match, and eventually he plays possum with you sometimes. Guys go, and he will beat you.
Yeah, he's a very good...
He games it. He knows how to game the win.
And how to use tactics to be able to get what he needs.
Super strong in that respect.
Placido is also in this division. Placido Santos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's one that every once in a while, like, you kind of forget, and then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere.
He shows up and you're like,
oh.
Him and Steele had a match at East Coast Trials last year.
He took Steele out. That's who took Steele out.
And I think Steele took him out.
Oh, okay.
But that was a match where you saw Steele like this. It is my textbook match for pace as a weapon.
Yeah. And
it was Cody Steele just like, no matter what happens, I'm just gonna be in your face, and I'm just gonna be putting pressure on you. And that is my match for pace as a weapon. Is Placido Santos and Cody Steele from ADCC East Coast Trials 2021.
And if you don't know who Placido is, he's the Uki for
Donher.
For Donher most of the time.
Yeah.
And like the early, I think it's just the early ones, because I think he has a new...
Oh, he does have a new one now?
I think he uses something else now.
But Placido, I can never get his name right. Placido Santos.
Yeah.
He's like...
For like the leg lock instructionals that everybody has from the Donher early years.
From like 2017 and 18.
He's the one that's getting his ass beat.
Yep. But very, very good guy at a new wave. And it's like, and he was a guy that people didn't really know who he was. And then he showed up right before Trials, and everyone went, oh, that's the Uke. And the guy who knew him as Donner's Uke.
Yeah.
And then realized like, oh, he can crack. He is really, really good. He's on that level. So he's not on this list here, but he is in that division. We also have David Garmo in this division. Garmo is astonishingly hard to deal with. We have Jacob Couch in this. We have Hunter Colvin. Both guys have looked amazing in the ADCC rule sets. Go back and watch a bunch of Couch's matches at the Opens and even his match versus Andrew Tackett at the ADCC World Open the day before World Championships last time.
Yeah, he recently was doing really well at Nogi Pans.
Yeah.
But he was taken out by, I want to say, Francisco Lowe.
It was. I think Francisco Lowe submitted him.
Yeah.
I keep thinking it's Devontae Johnson, but I think it was Francisco
Lowe because Devontae Johnson was in heavyweight with Dante Leon.
Yep. So again, Hunter Colvin and Jacob Couch ranked. Hunter Colvin's ranked 15th. Couch is ranked 14th. Those two guys were the finals of West Coast trials, and Jacob Couch was able to. Sorry,
Hunter
Colvin got buggy choked by Jay Rodriguez at West Coast trials last year, and again he made it all the way through West Coast trials. Got to be one of your front runners going into this because that was again that was the hardest 88 kilogram division that we have ever seen. To make the silver medalist there, you've got what it takes to get there. We also have Sloan Clymer at 88 kilos, who I think historically Sloan has been bigger than that. Yeah, it is interesting to see him under 88 now. He's one of Keenan Cornelius's black belts out of Legion, Caveman, really heavy. We know him for being heavy and strong.
Yeah.
He's got good dynamic wrestling, but really he is a guy that will just
also
crush you.
If he came in without the braided hair, I don't know if I'd recognize him.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Because I recognize him by he does the full braids.
Pretty telling mustache, and then he's got
California Kid style.
Yes, yeah.
I forgot that guy's name.
You're killing me.
UFC.
Yeah. Faber.
Yeah. Same hair as Faber, but just a big dude with the same hair.
What is Faber's first name? This is gonna kill me now.
I don't know.
He's one of my favorite fighters.
And then we're gonna get yelled at by other team members when they're like, "How did you not know?"
The California Kid. It's kid. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
Uriah.
Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot Uriah Faber's name.
I know, but they all have, without the hair, I completely forget who they are. It's kind of like, did we notice, well, we should have noticed in 66 that Junie is in it, because Junie.
Oh, Junie Acosta was in 66?
Yeah, he's in 66.
See, he's now listed on this division.
I know, again, and I just realized.
You have 250 names here.
Junie's another one. When Junie cut the hair, I completely stopped being able to recognize him. And then I'm like, oh, that's Junie. Because
Junie with short hair.
Yeah, because he had long hair for such a long time that I completely didn't realize.
And I first got to know Junie when he had the long hair, and then so when it was short again.
No, he's not. He's actually not on the list.
Oh, really?
Wow. Okay, I thought Ocasio.
I love watching Junie compete. He's got some really great dynamic leg locks as well. And one of the guys that hits the Z-lock with a frequency, probably the most frequent user of the Z-lock.
Yeah.
Maybe probably even more than Musumeci because he just competes more frequently. So also in the division for under 66 kilos, we have Kyle Chambers. We have Angelo Claiborne, another guy at TLI.
Yeah.
We have JB Betchloff. We have Ryan Aiken. And we have Dory Oren as well. Crazy division. Again, we're going to have big upsets in this division. 88 kilos is going to be the division I think we're going to have the biggest upsets.
Because I think we also have situations where we're going to have a match where it's a freaking banger of a match, and then whoever wins that match then has to then go against somebody like I don't know,
Tackett or J-Rod or Sebastian Rodriguez.
Or they get somebody who's more of a mid-range
that we don't know as much.
And they get taken out because they've just dealt with such chaos.
Yeah, one of the things, these trials are so long, how hard your previous matches can really go in. Hey, man, I was just exhausted going to this next match.
Yeah.
The other guy, had an easier match, and then that can make the difference in some of these trials matches. Whereas even if you're a guy on the level and favorite, if you run up against a guy that either you don't expect that doesn't know your game, you're also running into guys that you don't know who know you.
Yeah.
Which is the other thing that's really interesting here as well.
Yeah.
So they can plan for your game because they know what you're going to bring, and you have to fight essentially a fresh-faced guy that you don't know. It makes it really hard for some of these veterans to go in and win.
And sometimes, you have situations I believe that last year, Giancarlo Bordoni, like his first 3 matches, the guys didn't show up. So his first match was his 4th match of the day, which was his last match of the day.
Yeah, something like that.
And it was the one this
with
year.
Mike. Yeah, I had a corner against Gordon.
Yeah, but that was literally the first match of the. No, maybe it wasn't his. Maybe
no, he had a couple matches.
Okay, it was Mike's.
Mike's first.
It was
match.
Mike's first match.
Yeah.
But we have situations like that where you just have people in your bracket that don't show up, and then you have.
Which is why they do bracketing the first day after weigh-ins now, so they make sure that like, okay, now this
because
is where
we had a lot
line
of
up.
chaos with people not showing up, and then they're like calling them, and it just becomes.
But it's in a tournament of 1,500 people at this level, and everyone's like prepped for a year to make it here. You know, it's a wild tournament, which is why we're going up for it. So that was under 88 kilos.
So we go to under 99 kilos.
Yep. Under 99, we have Kevin Berberich, Adam Bradley, Kyle Dawkins is in here.
Yeah.
UFC fighter, big guy out of Philly.
Martinez BJJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious how he's going to go. We have Joe Durkheishing is in here as well. We have Devontae Johnson, who's been to ADCC in the Worlds before. Elliot Kelly, who has won trials before, is in this division as well. Elliot Kelly hasn't won trials in a couple of years now. I think he was a 2018 winner, maybe 2017 winner. I think is the year he won. Michael Pixley, Tanner Hall, Braylor Grout, Dashi Godo.
We also have, you said Adam Bradley.
I did say Adam Bradley.
We had Paul Ardilla.
Yeah, Ardilla.
He was number 3 last year.
Well, he almost won. No, he did win.
Yeah, he hit number 3. He was number 3 for East Coast Trials.
West Coast Trials, though.
Oh, West Coast, he won.
West Coast Trials,
he did win. Yeah,
yeah.
He's
so it's
in there.
really interesting to not have him on this list.
Yeah.
He, for me,
Ardilla,
would be my front runner. It's again, Ardilla's such an interesting guy because I think I was talking to John Hansen about him.
Because he's a full-time attorney.
And also it's like he's a guy that is just bet. Not this is in no way meant to be disrespectful. This is meant to be like a nice way to put his game.
No, he's sound
better than
all
everywhere.
around.
He's better than your average guy everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's no area where he's like gonna be the best guy in his division, but there's no area that you are gonna have an easy in because he's just better. He's better than everyone, like in every spot.
Yeah.
There's just no spot where he's got a big weakness or it's like, oh, I can exploit this in his game. He can wrestle you. He can leg lock with you. He can stand with you.
You know,
he
and
can
that's
pass. He can sort of do it all, and that's why again he wins the last West Coast Trials because he's just so complete in his ability to kind of like be this rule set.
And I appreciate that because you know you get some gentlemen that are really good at one thing, and if they get you into that one thing, you're screwed. But I appreciate somebody who has like all around.
Yeah, Ardilla's like, hey man, good luck. There's not going to be an easy spot you can put Ardilla and have him go away. Like it's just not going to happen.
Monday he'll be in court.
Dude, it's just so crazy. Like he left West Coast Trials and immediately had something to do.
Lawyers are just they're another kind of person.
Just built different. Miranda, you're in the legal world, which is what, so you have big respect for that.
We're just built different in that world.
So, again, 99, again, there's less, it's a smaller division under 99 kilos. We have a lot of guys moving out of 99 kilos.
I think Ardilla. Ardilla is...
I was just so impressed with his game, or like so impressed with his run, because he was a guy, again, we don't see hugely frequently, or we don't get a chance to cover him on the show for the events that we cover, and then had a really, really great showing.
Or Durkheishing, because Durkheishing is another...
So, Durkheishing, we had a really good match against Devontae Johnson at East Coast Trials last East Coast Trials.
Devontae Johnson too.
Devontae Johnson's tough to put away. They had the only match that went to double overtime. So ADCC has...
Oh, that was the match that almost landed in our laps a bunch of times.
So ADCC has a really interesting rule that you can have your regulation match for trials, which is 4 minutes, then 4 and 4, right, for trials? It's not 3 and 3.
No, it's 4 and 4 for your finals.
So so your opening is 3 and 3.
Yeah.
And then you go to a 3-minute overtime with points.
Yeah.
So 3 minutes, no points. 3 minutes, points. If there are no score or even score, it goes 3 minutes, points.
Yeah.
And then it goes to decision 99% of matches. But if it is still close enough, there can be another overtime.
And that was a whole...
that's put up there. And there was controversy with that, and we talked about it ad nauseum when it happened. But that match is I think the only match at East Coast Trials.
That's the only match I remember going that far.
That's gone into double overtime. So it's, again, both those guys have the ability to definitely make hay and get it done.
We're not going to have any Murillo. No Murillo.
Yeah, no, Murillo can't coach at ADCC after the knife incident at the Open. So that'll be interesting with him, Sebastian Rodriguez, and with Devontae.
Yeah.
Not having him in his corner. I'm curious if that will change kind of their approaches or strategies at all.
Listening to him coach against Dante Leon, and so it was Pedigo and Murillo, both coaching in that finals match for Nogi Pans. Was interesting because both voices, for whatever reason, I could pick out.
Yeah.
And I could listen to both of them.
For Nogi Pans.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to listen to it.
Plus 99 kilos, we have John Hansen, our buddy.
Our returning champion.
Our returning champion. One of what, only...
He's the only returning East Coast champion.
Yeah. So he's the only guy that won this event last time.
That
came back. And also... As soon as registration was open, he was the first dude registered because then he wants to be here, and
he's probably one of the few husband-wife teams too.
His wife's also competing as well, and this as well.
I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch, but that's one of the more notable ones.
Yeah,
I think
a trials winner.
Both of them are definitely top level competitors.
Yeah, John won UWW this last year. Again, he's won trials I think twice.
Yeah.
Now, he knows the ADCC rule sets. He can go out. He has won the Opens. He's a guy that knows how to win at ADCC. I've had a chance to train with him in the room and see he's a guy I'm not picking against. We also have Amir Alam, a guy that we typically have not seen a whole lot of. We saw him on quintet for the first time in a while. In this division, we have Mario Gonzalez. You pulled some information on Gonzalez.
Yeah, Mario Gonzalez. Yeah, because he was our number 4 under 99 champion last year.
Medalist or place, not champion.
Well, number 4. Did I?
We also have Big Dan in this division, who just looked really good and was at Hanky Julissa's finals match for European trials.
Yeah.
We have Damon Ramos again. So all three, Hansen, Big Dan, and Damon Ramos all went to ADCC World Championships the year prior, and then Hansen would have also gone in 2019. We also have Pat Shangoli in this division. Big dark horse. I'm kind of curious to see how Shangoli looks, in this sort of bracket at plus 99. He's looked good recently on all the super fights. It is just interesting to see him kind of being a little older, having some experience, having guys are going to know more about his game going in this. Very interesting to see who he gets matched up against. But again, for my money, I'm going to go with the guy that's won trials multiple times, Hansen. I would not count out Damon Ramos. So Damon Ramos is a guy that all the big guys that I speak to always speak super highly of Ramos for just how dynamic he is, because he can wrestle, he can leg lock, he can scramble, and all the big guys talk about, he's a real handful to deal with for anyone. And then Big Dan also won the European trials last time and has a bunch of trials experience. He's been killing and winning all the Opens in his weight class and the absolute. I've had the pleasure to watch a couple of his matches live at the Opens. Dude knows how to win in ADCC rules impose, and has only been making a ton of improvements. Plus, recently coming off the European trials, made a small mistake in the finals that potentially cost him that match against Hanky Julissa. Where you're going to go back to the New Wave camp, come back into this, and be ready to correct those mistakes. He's been in the finals for trials
a few times,
3 times at this point. He knows what it takes to win. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious how him and John Hansen are going to match up in the finals.
And there's a lot of names that we're not very familiar with in this bracket. So there could always be a beast that comes out of nowhere.
Well, there are. I want to caveat that we are not going through every single person's name. We're not skipping anyone intentionally.
No.
There's just 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull from the biggest list
and sometimes,
that we have easily.
And sometimes, we're just not familiar with someone's game.
Yeah.
It's not that, and they could be killing it maybe on the West Coast and we just don't see it as much over
because we're on the East Coast. And again, that's one of the fun things about trials. It's you get a chance to see all of these people and the guys in the second day. It's, I haven't seen him, or I can keep in my head, I talk about this on the show a little bit, a roster of about 250 grapplers across all divisions, men and women. Once we balloon beyond that, I really struggle. That's really only your top 10 in all your weight classes.
And I remember random stuff. I have a really weird random memory about things. So
with this, again, I have about 250 names that I can keep stats on. We have 1,000 people here. There's just a lot of names that I may have seen before, but I'm just going to blank on. Let's move over to the women's brackets. Let's start at the women's.
And we'll mention that the women's brackets, like you said, it's a competition. It's a high-level competition.
Yes.
But there are no spots for...
it is not a qualifying thing.
There's no qualifiers.
Now, that being said, if they are looking to fill a slot for an invite for a dropout or something...
And for your ranking for West Coast Trials.
Yes.
So even if you don't... if
you don't win this.
You don't win this, but you place in this when you go into West Coast Trials, you sit better than some of the others.
You will be the top seed going into West Coast Trials, usually going and winning East Coast Trials. So
or even placing. Because I remember,
absolutely,
some of the women that placed last year definitely came in a better position when they did.
Because you
West
went and
Coast.
placed, and again, you've shown the organization that you can compete in the rule set, you can win, you can be competitive. They are because these are getting so big now, they are using that information to seed these tournaments so that they are more seeded appropriately, and so you're not putting two champion level people against each other in the first round. You're putting, hey, these people all have a bunch of experience. We're going to separate them and get people that have not had the experience, the opportunity, and being forced to go against the folks that have put the time and experience in, so that you probably have a higher level finals match later. And it also, again, I love that it gives the women the opportunity to, less now with the opens, but have the ADCC style matches, so they're not robbed of the ability to have that experience and get that experience going into a qualifying event like West Coast Trials for them. So second ADCC Trials that has the new women's weight classes. We now have under 55 kilos, under 65 kilos, and above 65 kilos. In the under 55 kilo division, we have Amanda Bruce, Sophia Casella.
Sophia Casella. Jessica Crane, Alex Enriquez, Tammy Musumeci, Jasmine Rocha, and then we have a bunch of other competitors that are right at the same level. But we haven't seen as much. Faye Sherrier, Maggie Meyer, Emily Nicholson.
Lauren Sears is in here as well.
Yeah, and Lauren Sears.
We have Musumeci. We have Tammy Musumeci, who has been to ADCC before, who has, again, been at under 60 kilos before for ADCC at the old weight classes, world champion. She's not listed in this division here as a former ADCC World Champion person. I'm not sure why she's not listed like that, but Jasmine Rocha has been looking really good at the opens. And again, your dad's Wagner, your brother is Achilles. That whole family is prepped for ADCC. Wagner in your corner and in your ear. The prep's been good. We did see her in a recent match versus ADCC under 60 kilogram champion Fionn Davies, where Fionn sort of really put the pressure on her and didn't let Jasmine really get anything going. And it was a tough match for Jasmine, but that's the best woman in the world, arguably, at your weight class. To have that experience going into trials, we've seen Jasmine look very, very good at trials before. She made it very far at East Coast and West Coast trials the last 2 years. And has only gotten stronger. She is now a black belt. We've seen her in black belt level competition. That's where she competes nowadays.
Is she a black belt or is she still purple belt?
She's black belt now.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Yep, because we've seen her in pans and stuff like that as a black belt. And we've covered her a little bit as a black belt, even though I've been covering her since she was purple, I think, and talking about her since she was blue.
Yeah.
But I think Tammy, for me, is the one that's going to be the hardest to get by. I am curious with the emphasis on wrestling. It's always been something we haven't seen as much from Tammy. She just is not a comfortable, strong wrestler in this under 55 kilogram division. I'm curious how much that's going to play a factor in here versus, again, women we know are stronger wrestlers like Alex Enriquez at a standard, who is a super strong forward pressure wrestler. Jasmine Rocha, same thing. Very comfortable wrestling you down, putting a ton of forward pressure in.
Yeah, Sophia Casella is actually, I want to say she did high school wrestling.
Yeah.
She's a smaller, but it's 120. So
121, I think, is 55 kilos.
So she's definitely a little smaller than that, I believe, but she definitely has a nice wrestling pedigree.
But I like the under 55 kilos. Yeah. We have that extra, 10 pounds that we can get closer. So a lot of the women that formerly couldn't ever even compete in this weight class can do it.
Where is Grace Gundrum?
I don't know. I don't think she's listed here.
I didn't see her listed at all.
Yeah, I don't think she's in. I don't think she's listed, which is
surprising.
Wild because we've seen her.
Because I would have expected her to be in one of these brackets.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, she's not in here.
Oh,
it's unfortunate. Maybe, again, potentially going to enter, and this also isn't a complete list, so but I don't see her in the other registration list.
You can definitely come into some of these, especially the women's brackets. You can come into Wednesday. So,
which again, I hope we see her. I love seeing Grace. She has a really difficult game for a lot of folks to deal with. It'd be awesome to see her. I have really liked Alex Enriquez's game.
Yeah.
I think it's very complete.
And she has a very good game for this rule set.
And she pushes a phenomenal pace. I think her, Tammy, and Jasmine are my kind of picks for frontrunner. Jessica Crane is absolutely in this mix as well. And so is Amanda Bruce and Sophia Casella. We essentially have almost your women's top 15 here represented in its totality. But again, I've really liked Alex Enriquez's game, and seeing her at East Coast trials and at West Coast trials.
Yeah, she had gotten second place against Brianna St. Marie.
And again, that's only woman to win both trials.
Yeah,
who is again not represented here, but you medaled, so there's no need for you because you're getting an invite slot to ADCC. I think Alex, Tammy are both my front runners here because again, Alex has done it.
Yeah.
And Tammy's been a world champion. So that's who I'm putting my slot with at women's under 55 kilos. At women's under 65 kilos, Morgan Black, Helena Cravar, Kaylin Egan, Shella Lindsay, Nicole Matthews, and Trinity Pun.
Yep.
So we have Trinity Pun here. Cravar has been looking phenomenal at all the ADCC Opens. She went and won Nogi Pans at Juvenile.
Yes.
So again, still technically a juvenile, but has been. We've been seeing her. We saw her at West Coast trials. We saw her at East Coast trials. We saw her at the World Open. Like she has been on the ADCC trials circuit for a couple of years now. The ADCC trials and the Open circuit. She has a ton of Open experience. She's now at the New Wave camp, and it seems like she is the woman that they are pushing to be their women's champion that they've sort of talked about for 2 years now. It seems like she is the one that they're pushing. You
also have Sofia Delgado.
Oh yeah, she's not on this list.
She's not on that list, but she's in the division.
Yeah.
Lauren Butler Jones was the number 3, or she was the 3rd place at plus 60 for West Coast trials last year, or East Coast trials last year. She's a 10th Planet Black Hole BJJ person.
Yeah, Nicole Matthew. We've seen her on Rise. We've seen her on finishers. Very, very difficult to put away.
Yeah.
Good leg walker.
Trinity
Pun as well. Again, I think Cravar, Pun, and who you just said?
Oh, Lauren Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jones. Those 3 are the ones that I think we're going to see in that top slot for day 2. Just because, again, like I've seen a ton from Cravar, so I think she sits in my memory like earlier, but she has looked so good and been so consistent in the ADCC rule set. I think she'll be comfortable there.
Yeah, and she has sort of had a problem in the past in the ADCC trials but she's only had a problem because she's went against like
Elizabeth Clay,
or like
veterans and former champion level.
That's the only reason she would really lose, right? Or she has taken losses in trials in the past.
Is against veterans.
Yeah, against veterans, and she was always in plus 60, which meant she was with big people.
Yeah.
Like
now this is again another great reason I love that they're stratifying the weight classes for women, because you can get, Cravar is a much more appropriate size for 65 kilos when it doesn't go up to 85 kilos.
Yeah.
So that's you're also in this weight class.
Yes, I'm in this weight class.
This is your weight class as well.
This is my weight class, which is watch me get Helena Cravar first round. He'll just be I'd be like, hey.
I'd watch that.
I'd be like, hey.
It's a rough matchup.
I'd be like, I have to put my head or my hair in pigtails at that point.
Yeah,
go pigtail versus pigtail.
Absolutely,
you gotta do that. Okay.
And she's gonna look across the mat and you go, "Oh, really?" And you're like, "No, well, it was a good time." You wave, you're like, "Hi, Maine. You know where the wheel's located." Next division we have plus 65 kilograms. We have MMA fighter, UFC fighter Caitlin Chikagian. We have Big Bird, Brittany Elkin. We have Aaron Harp. We have Nicole Johnson. We have Bridget Melise and Khalija Peak as well.
Yeah.
Peak looked really good at the last East Coast trials and made it really, really far. I think who took out Peak?
Was it? Lauren Jones did.
Okay, yeah.
That was the finals match because Peak was number...
No, Kendall. I thought... Did Kendall?
She might have...
Or did Kendall win West Coast?
Kendall won East Coast.
Yeah.
So Kendall probably took her out, and then she went against Lauren Jones.
For third.
And Jones took her out for third.
Yeah.
That was what happened. But because Peak had got fourth place.
Yeah, Peak is a woman that really is at plus 65 kilos and knows how to, like, she can impose on the people that are not ready for above 65 kilos.
And this is the division of Christina Hansen.
Yeah, John's wife as well. Yeah. So, again, Christina looked really good at UWW. I haven't seen a lot from Christina's game recently other than her UWW Worlds run, which I think she took silver or bronze. I don't remember what she took, but again, that's a world level event. She looked very good in that, so it'll be interesting to have her. We also have Big Bird, Brittany Elkin.
She's a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about Elkin's game. Like, she's, again, another woman that's very suited for above 65 kilos. Yeah. This is,
but she used to cut to like 135, like 145.
145. And that was a cut that she looked like Skeletor.
Yeah, it was a bad
making that cut.
Yeah. Because, I mean, she's gone against some freaking champ.
I mean, she was Clarissa Shields' MMA debut and Kayla Harrison MMA debut. Yeah. Like, has like some of the worst matchup luck in MMA debuts. Yeah. But again, she's a high level.
She's also a beast.
Yeah, she almost beat Clarissa Shields on the ground. Like, that's like very, very good. We also run Fight to Win for years and years. Yeah. Compete. She's at 10th Planet now, I think, in Bethlehem.
Definitely. Yep.
Yep. Up there with Zach. This is a fun one. Again, I kind of want to lean. Harp's very good. Peak weighed it really far last time, but I just haven't seen anything from her since East Coast Trials 2 years ago. And that's my big kind of X factor. I was impressed with her ability to just kind of stifle almost everyone she went against.
We also have our friend Ann Russell in this division.
Oh yeah, my friend Ann is from our gym. Is going to come. Is also competing in this division. It's been fun. Again, we've had a bunch of folks coming up. I've not mentioned a bunch of the folks from our gym. I've just kind of gone off the list that we have, but we do have some folks that I've been training with in the room. ADCC camp is fun. It's why I have a sprained groin right now, which has been great.
Good times. Good times.
It's been a great camp. I'm not competing because I know who I am. So I'm going to do media coverage, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I will say it's a little bit easier to be a female in the grappling world than be a male because we have a little bit more room to work with. We don't have a division that's like 300 deep.
I have Davin Corbray, DeAndre Corbray, John Callistein, Johnny Grippo, Keith Kokora, and Ethan Krellinson. Like, bro, I have 15 guys in the first round. Like, I'm okay at the sport we do. I have 15 guys that'll look at me and torpedo me. Like, I saw how Dorian Alvarez looked before his matches that I had to judge at ADCC Dallas. I'm like, I'm not ready for that smoke. I saw him at Combat Worlds. Like, I know that I'm not getting past that guy. And, like, I had spine surgery 2 years ago. I know where my lane is. I'm going to stay in my lane now. I'll hold down some locals. As soon as I get to Masters for ADCC, you'll see me at those opens, but no business right now in the adults anymore. Yeah. Because I got, again, look at this 66 kilo division. Like, there's 25 guys in there that are going to look at me and break me in half. It's fun.
I mean, it's the same way with the women, but we have at least less of them to,
there's less
to kind of look at.
What I got for men's 66 kilos. We got
250.
250. And week of that's going to go to 265, 264. It's going to go to the full distance. Like, we're going to have a full bracket, so it's going to cap 256 for 66 kilos, 77 kilos. I'm guessing 88 kilos will get there because you'll have guys that can't get into 77.
Yeah, can't get into 77.
That will go to 88. Yeah. So I think, and at 99, you only have 83 right now, so that's not going to cap. And then plus 99 only has 57, so that's not going to cap. But again, you're going to have full 3 men's full divisions, 256. That's what, 750 competitors total. 1,000 competitors on the weekend. I can't wait. It'll be fun. We're going up Thursday night.
Yep.
I'm going to coach a bit at the Open and then get ready and prepped to get all my interview stuff ready and try to coordinate some interviews, not get in the way of the athletes at all, because that's how you do it. Yeah. As a guy that's trying to do media coverage, it's like, hey man, don't interfere with the athletes until they're done competing. Then you talk to them.
Yeah,
if they're willing to talk to you beforehand, great. But it's like, I am here to not get in the way. I want to tell your story and like talk to you, like, and showcase and talk about your game, because that's what I'm interested in hearing about. But do not want to in any way bother your tournament at all, because that's what you are here to do, and that's what I'm here to cover you for.
Yep. It'll be a fun weekend.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Lots of competition. Hopefully, a lot of upsets, because upsets are what I was.
Upsets are always, like, that's why we go to trials. But that's what trials are so great for, is because if you think you're the next world champion, and these other tournaments you can't get into, you can't get a Superfest slot, you can't get a match against that guy, ADCC trials is a way to go, I am the best guy in the world. I'm going to show it to you. I registered like everyone else. There's no requirements.
Yeah.
I then beat everyone in the tournament. I'm the best guy at this bracket today. This is why I should be here. So it's, for me, there's very few other sports that sort of have that ability for like opens. Like golf has it with the U.S. Open, and there are other qualifying opens. But I love that grappling has this for ADCC.
Yeah, but I feel like some of those also, you have to have a certain amount of money to be able to get into them. Where ADCC, you just have to have the 125 to register. Yeah. Besides that, we don't give a shit. You can be like Majid Hage and wear your shorts and your big T-shirt, and go out there and freaking murder
Doesn't
people.
Matter. You don't have to be. You don't have to.
It's not like you have to buy. Like I some of the other sports you have to. There's a certain amount of money that you're gonna have to put in. And don't get me wrong, training is expensive as fuck. Yeah. But anybody.
But you can be a guy from whatever training situation that you are a part of, or a woman, and pay your registration fee, which is $125. And that's where your expenses end. If you are the best guy, there's nothing stopping you from putting your money where your mouth is and showing that you are the best in the world. And that is such a cool thing about this sport, and it's really a privilege that it's set up like this, because every time we get people that's like, who is that guy? Yeah. And then they explode onto the scene, and that trials was on. Maybe they don't win trials. Yeah. They usually don't win trials, your first or second time out, but it gives us an opportunity to go, okay, that guy who I don't know just took out a former trials winner and a former guy that got the invite 3 years ago at World Championships. Oh, he's a guy to watch. Maybe not this cycle, but next. Like, look at Keith Krikorian. Yeah. Like, gets second place at 3 trials in a row and then wins West Coast trials. Like, he was on the level. He got there, on his own volition by putting the work in. And he got the invite slot to 2019 because he showed up and he showed that he was on that level. And so, again, I love it. I have nothing more on trials. I am so excited to go to New Jersey for my once every 2 years New Jersey trip to trials. Yeah, Jersey's something. I go to Jersey a little bit more often than not, but I go for trials, and that is I go to train, and I go because I ref in Jersey. Oh yeah, you do, don't you? Yeah. I worked in Jersey for like a year, and I try to go back for trials, and that is it. Yeah. But it'll be fun. It'll be a fun weekend. I'm amped for it. Yeah. You got anything else? No. All right. If you see us at East Coast Trials, I'm gonna have some shirts. If you want to buy a shirt for me, Grappling Miranda, this is the old one. The new ones actually have the word podcast on the bottom of them. I'll have that, like some stickers and stuff. Yeah. Come by, say hello if you listen to the show. I love to talk to folks. I love being at the event and doing this kind of stuff. If I have a resting bitch face looking on me, just still talk to me. Sometimes I just look like I'm angry all the time. So, especially getting ready to compete, I'm going to be angry. And you'll get a vibe from Miranda real quick if it's actual anger. It's like, he actually is angry. Like, all right, have a good day. But again, I love talking to folks. But like, I've talked to, at IBJJF, a bunch of people who come up and said hi. Yeah. It's nice to see that people actually listen to us. Yeah. I mean, we do this show because I like talking about grappling. I will talk your ear off about grappling as long as you wish to talk to me at a live event, unless I got to go to an interview. But again, I love talking about grappling. It's why we've done this show for going on 6+ years. Yep. And it's been awesome. So, as always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host, Miranda. And we have the Grappling Ground to the mat. Where it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email. We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+. Until that shuts down. We have a website. If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it, let us know. Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.